Well, good morning and welcome back to a slightly crisp Torridon. So came across this little woodland a couple of days ago and thought must head down there at some point and see whether there's any images to be had, and came down again yesterday evening for a bit of an extended explore, and it's beautiful. Lots of really old twisted trees, and even throughout the day it doesn't get a lot of sun doing here, a couple of hours during the winter, and so everything stays reasonably frosty. Now, one thing I'm going to say is, over the last couple of videos, looking back and looking at my images, there's been a couple of occasions where I've maybe spoken about an image and I haven't showed that image on screen, or perhaps I've showed an image that, let's face it, isn't really up to much. Now, as I said when I restarted doing these YouTube videos, I really wanted this to be maybe slightly different than maybe 99% of the other videos out there, because for me there's two reasons behind this channel. Number one, and the lesser of two, it's to hopefully show the journey and the reality of doing this. You know, I would say that 90% of images that we're out there shooting are perhaps not all that much, but just the whole sort of process of actually being out with the camera and making images, that hopefully is helping me to further my sort of photographic eye. And the second reason why I'm kind of recording perhaps more of the maybe stuff that potentially should be left on the cutting room floor is from a therapeutic point of view. I won't go into a huge amount of detail, but you know, several months ago I obviously took a complete step back from everything professional related to photography. So I stopped running workshops, I stopped selling prints, I stopped doing all of that stuff. And you know, the underlying reason why that was simply because I wasn't in a good frame of mind, and it wasn't fair that I was running workshops and perhaps trying to lead others when I myself was a little bit lost. Now, fast forward 8 months. Am I any better? I would say no. But I'm kind of struggling on. And I do feel most at peace when I'm in the outdoors. And so a huge reason why I wanted to kind of record this whole journey, warts and all, is because I can certainly see in my images when perhaps I'm not in a great frame of mind, and when I'm struggling. And so that's why I wanted to kind of, as I've always maintained, this is first and foremost for me to sort of see that journey. So apologies if it's not all razzmatazz and, you know, epic sunrises and epic sunsets, but this is a journey. It's a bloody difficult journey. Now, I don't for 1 minute take for granted that I do have this opportunity to take a step back and just do this first and foremost for myself. I'm grateful that I can do that. But that in a way has also weighed heavily on me, because the demons will quite often, you know, come up and say, well, what are you doing this for? You know, if there's no commercial side of things, what are you doing this for? You're wasting your time. Especially when I look back at the images and realise that they're not much cop. And so it's kind of a twisted, mixed up kind of place to be in. But I still firmly believe that on the road and out in nature, and not just with the camera, but out in nature, running, climbing, cycling, walking, taking images, making images, that's where I will find my solace, and where I will find just that little slice of happiness. Not there yet. So apologies if the images themselves are not that much to write home about. But this is a personal journey for me that I happen to be sharing online, but it's always going to be something that I'm looking to get the benefit from. And if someone enjoys the images or enjoys the journey along the way, then that's an added bonus. But anyway, that was just a little bit of a backstory to kind of why things perhaps are a little bit more subdued. Let's go have a little bit of a wanders around this little woodland. It's about an hour after sunrise. It was a mediocre sunrise, just sat and watched it with a coffee. Be nice if we got just a little bit of light filtering through here, but it seems to be quite hazy. But we'll go for a bit of a wander and see whether we can make some sense of the chaos. Okay, so potentially a first image here. And actually, what drew my attention to this here was as I was walking across. Well, first of all, again, that whole mixture of late autumn, early winter. The early winter along the ground and the late autumn with the leaves kind of barely clinging on. But what really drew my attention to it was there was just the very slightest of breezes passed through. And probably about 100 leaves just came flying past me. I wish I had recorded it. If it happens again, I'll see whether I can get a little clip of it, because it was just beautiful. I love being, don't get me wrong, the leaves falling off the trees can get photographers kind of going, no, autumn is finished, my life is over. But I love standing in silence and all you can hear is the leaves falling all around you, and it was beautiful. And so, given the fact that did evoke a real just sense of peace in me, I kind of have to take an image of this now. The sun is actually starting to poke up a little bit over the hill in the distance. So we're getting just a little bit of kind of side light on this. Very, very subtle. There's the breeze starting again actually. One or two little leaves falling off. But yeah, so given that emotional, for me, I look back at my images in my library and there's very few of them I find evoke an emotional response, and perhaps that's because I've been rushing things a little bit too much. Whereas, irrespective of how this image turns out from a purely photographic point of view, it doesn't matter now, because I'll now remember that feeling that I had with all those leaves just falling around me. Just beautiful. Right, let's see whether we get any light on that tree. So still in the same position, and that sun has now risen up over the hill, and as I thought, quite diffused with the light cloud, which is actually helping things because it's just bringing just a little touch of light to that tree. Also tried it in a panoramic format as well. I don't do a lot of panos, and I kind of had a play with one the other day out in Torridon, just a nice little scene of a Scots pine and snow-capped mountains as you do, and I quite liked it. So yeah, I was just in a pano here, and then behind the tree that is my primary focus. So I'm just watching that light really just sort of glisten off some of the far trees there, but anyway, got distracted. And there's a little cabin where you can't really make out how dilapidated it is or not. It's hidden by all those twisted branches, but I think that maybe brings a little bit of an element of intrigue to the image as well. So I also composed an image just with that on the right hand side as well. So see, we're actually getting some clear skies up here now as well. So the light is definitely improving. I can hear those leaves falling again. Just over here. beautiful. Right, I think we'll wander on and see whether we can find something else. So I've been wandering around for a couple of hours now. Not really seeing anything really to photograph, but it's been a beautiful couple of hours, including wonderful sort of 5-10 minutes watching 3 female deer. They finally got wind of me in Scarborough, but that was rather nice. So the scene here, I don't think it works right now, but it's one of those scenes, given how twisty those trees are and how gnarly they are. I think if they were to shed all of their leaves and maybe even a little dusting of snow on one side of them, I think that may work. The only thing now, it's kind of gone away now. The only thing that was potentially to my benefit with this scene was the fact that the sunlight has now broken through, and so it's actually given us a little bit of depth in the background as well. But I'm not sure it's kind of working. I've taken a couple of images from here, sort of slightly different focal lengths and slightly different framing, but I just think it's a little bit too busy, but hey ho. So really just one scene from today, so it's okay though. You know, as I said, this isn't about churning out image after image after image. It's about making an image that evokes something in me, and I think that little scene earlier with the tree, because of those falling leaves, was certainly one of those. Well, I'm going to head back to the van. We're going to head over to Torridon and hunker down in the business centre for a while. I'm sure there'll be coffee and cake consumed. But until next time, take care and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.